Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I've built a little riverside cabin, only it's not really next to a river. The river's kind of like the size of a stream, so I was thinking of calling it streamside cabin, but to be honest that doesn't really sound right at all. I've managed to build it fairly cheaply, so I'm pretty proud that it's actually under 100k. The cost of this house is 59,135 simoleons. I think I was saying in one of my previous videos that I did want to build something that wasn't so expensive, so you could perhaps have a sim. If you like to play the game like I do, you'd have your sim just make a bit of money first, and then they would actually be able to afford this fairly quickly. In terms of the packs that I've used this time, it may just be like the same as what I've used on my previous builds, probably because I use pretty much the same items each time, but this uses City Living, Spa Day, Get Together, Outdoor Retreat, Vintage Glamour, the Fitness Stuff Pack, Dine Out, Parenthood and Vampires. So if you're the sort of person who doesn't have all the packs like me, this may be a build that you're interested in downloading, because you don't have to have every single game pack in order to actually enjoy what I've put into it. So this took me, I'm pretty proud of this as well actually, it's one of my quicker builds, but it only took me 3 hours this time to build. Normally stuff like this will take probably around like a whole day for me to build. I just don't know why I'm so slow, but I do spend a lot of time scrolling through the items, which you may see within this video. So it's a 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom house. The bedroom is hidden away in the rooftop area, and yeah, it's got a fairly minimalist design to it. I use a lot of greys and whites and blacks, and it's the sort of thing, and also I use like mirrors as well to make the place look bigger. But what I wanted with this was I wanted the outside, like the front of the house, to be a bit more inconspicuous. I didn't want it to be like, say if you were to like just come across it randomly, I didn't want it to be the sort of place that you'd be like intrigued to look inside. So where those big front windows are at the front, we actually just put a wall up just to hide the fact of what we have behind it. We have a wall going so that when you actually look at it from the front, there's not really much going on. But yeah, like I was saying, so 60k for this build, which is not really that bad going. It's a pretty modern build. And yeah, I've kind of built this for a sim who basically likes the outdoors. I've placed it in the outdoor retreat world, not just so that it's a rental, but because just because of all the trees around it, and I've not really used this world much recently, but I think in terms of, it's a little cabin, you kind of want something a bit more secluded and not much going on. I don't know if anyone has seen my little failed, I must add as well, my little 10-minute challenge build. I did the thing of having my first floor with an open, I don't know what to call it, but like an open, like a, what's it called, so it's kind of like an indoor balcony. I just can't think of the way that you describe it. But yeah, and basically in my 10-minute build challenge, for some reason I couldn't for the life of me actually get it to work. So I've done it in this build and it has worked, which I'm fairly thankful for. I think structurally there are a few points that probably shouldn't work. I think there's like the ceiling of the upstairs bit is just like randomly floating, and there's not really any walls to attach it, and I kind of wish I'd got rid of the ceiling, but that, I suppose that doesn't really matter. That's why we play The Sims, because stuff like that doesn't matter if it's going to all fall down on you and it's not being held up in any way. So in the kitchen I've put down those little white brick tiles, and you know, sometimes I kind of feel like they're really effective as a splashback for the kitchen wall, but I did actually end up replacing them this time, and I end up putting in a couple of mirrors behind, just so it kind of opens up the space, and because it reflects all the way to the other side of the room, it completely opens up the building a bit. So it's a good little tip for making smaller spaces look bigger. If you add a little mirror, then the whole room will kind of open up, and whilst you look into it, then the reflection there is, and it's twice as big. So we're just doing the bathroom now. Sometimes I just like to place all the items in the room first, and then you can kind of have a little play around with how they work together. So for example, with the sinks, I ended up putting 2 in, because you kind of, you know, you get the feeling like this would be for 2 Sims together. So, and because it's quite a small space, they might want to use a bathroom together. But like I said before, it's very minimalist, and what I've tried to do is like add a lot of plants as well, just to make it a bit greener. I like how the majority of the colour in this build comes from the plants and the surrounding landscape. It's quite nice that you can have a fairly neutral coloured house but still add the colour by using all the plants in the game. But obviously I've put in, so we've got the bathtub. I think what I've wanted with this is for it to be very simple perhaps. We haven't included a shower, we've just got a bathtub, and I think that if you're going back to nature, you would have a bathtub rather than the shower. So this is probably one of my favourite parts of the build. I've put up a little partition wall. I kind of wanted to hide what was in the building, which is kind of why we have all the smaller windows at the front, and then the wall kind of gets in the way of what is behind. And I think just by adding all the plants, it kind of makes it seem a bit like a greenhouse perhaps, and not a modern home. But anyway, I really like this area too. So I think this is probably like the main feature of the room. We just got this massive bookshelf area, shelving unit, and it is very plain and simple, but it kind of acts as a feature in the room. And one of the things that I've done with this living space is that I haven't added a TV, which is only been since recently when the TV was first made, but living rooms used to centre around the fireplace. So basically before TVs were invented, you'd have your sofas or your chairs in your living area focusing on the fireplace, because obviously now we have a TV screen that we position our sofas to. I just find that quite interesting. So there's this museum in Shoreditch that it's called the Jeffrey Museum of the Home, and this museum explores the home and home life from the 1600s to the modern day. And obviously the TV was invented in, I don't even know, so this is probably something that I should have looked up before I decided to record this voiceover. So if I just search for this now, when was the TV invented? Let's see. So first electronic television was invented in 1927. I was gonna guess that actually, so I don't know why I didn't just say that. It wasn't until 1927 that the living room was actually centered around your TV screen. And I think, and obviously I know how much, like how important now TV screen is to people. You know, you get the news from there. Radio is kind of like what a radio, like a proper radio, is kind of like dying out. You don't really get that in homes anymore, especially because you've got your mobile phone. You can kind of just like listen to, if you wish, listen to the radio on your phone. But yeah, so this website says television can be found in billions of homes around the world, but 100 years ago, nobody even knew what a television was. In fact, as late as 1947, only a few thousand Americans owned television. How did such a groundbreaking technology turn from a niche invention to a living room mainstay? So yeah, that's kind of why I didn't really bother adding a TV. I don't really think it's necessary to always centre your living room around the screen, and I just think just because of this sort of build, having such a modern appliance just wouldn't fit the general theme of it. So at the moment we are just adding the finishing touches to the living spaces. I think most importantly, you should always put your lighting in with the whilst it's nighttime, just so you can see how brightly everything gets lit up. Sometimes when adding in all your lights, it can look a bit overexposed, especially when you use the spotlights and whatnot. But yeah, and I really love those like lights that you get from the fitness stuff pack. I really wish, like with the latest packs that we will get next, I hope that they're actually like more modern day items that you see in everyday life. So I know like copper has been a phase recently. It would be quite nice to get some more like copper items, and even like the geometric style, like those little candles that I've put on the floor. I think recently the Sims have actually, what they've produced has been like pretty upkeeping with the like modern phases and fads that go around. So the bedroom is fairly simple. It just includes a bed, a little dresser, and then some mirrors. But to be honest, I didn't really want to like make it too fussy. I think one of the nice things about this house is that it's just fairly simple. I don't, to be honest, like with most of my builds, I don't really like over designing them and adding too much fuss to them. Like I know that it's nice to add in a lot of detail, but also like more plainer and minimalist, especially if you've got like a minimalist design. You don't really want to be adding too much to it. So yeah, now we're just moving on to the garden. To be honest, I didn't really do much in terms of landscaping. I just think sometimes it's nice just to add like little clusters of plants and some rocks, and then if you use the terrain tool, then you get a nice simple effect. This sort of build is a thing where they've just planted a few little plants. You got the little planters on the decking just to add, you grow your own stuff. I think this is a sort of house where you can like live off the land, hopefully a bit. You can grow your fruit and vegetables in the planters, and then maybe some like little flowers at the front. You got your little barbecue area, and then a little area where you can just sit down and like look at the view. Also, like the outside, I've tried to more of a minimalist design by just keeping the colours fairly white, and then I've just added that little poo plant or whatever it's called, the little fertilising plant to the back, just in case your Sims get caught short. Also, like lighting as well is fairly important on the outside. I always find it, I know like sometimes I always forget this, but just adding a few lights at the front and back of their house just really makes it stand out. So yeah, I think that is everything. We're just gonna go into the screenshots now. So I hope you like this build. Once again, please like, comment and subscribe to my channel if you are liking what you're seeing at the moment. yeah, please let me know down below if you wish to see anything in particular, and then I will try my hardest to get that recorded for you. Thank you and goodbye.